Hi everyone, you're all welcome back to my channel. I appreciate you all for always being there to watch my video each time I release a new video. Thanks very much. And for those of you watching my video for the very first time, you are highly welcome. Please subscribe to my channel, like my video, and share my video as well. Thank you very much. Now, what I have today is cutting of um, boys' shirts. Now, to start up, I'm going to draw a straight line on this edge. Now, haven't drew a straight line, the next thing I'm going to do is to measure the length. Now, the length of this particular shirt is 21. Now, I'm going to reduce it by 1.5 inches, like you can see where I place my tape. 1.5 inch. I'm leaving that. So I'm going to mark my 21 inch. This is my 21 inch, and I'm going to add 1 inch like this. So I will also do this here. I've left 1.5 inch, marking 21 plus 1 inch extra for my seam allowance for my folding. Now we also do that here before I finally connect the lines. So I'm going to connect these lines. Together. Okay. Now, having done this, the next thing is I'm going to rule a straight line here first because I don't want this rough edge here. I'm measuring a straight line. The reason is that I don't want this rough edge here. So, having drawn this line, now from this line, I'm going to measure 2 inches. As you can see, from this line, I'm measuring 2 inches. 2 inches. Measuring 2 inches. This 2 inches serves as the button and where my button is going to sit. So I'm going to connect this line straight. So the next thing for me, I've connected the lines where my button is going to sit. Now the next thing is for me to measure from this line. I'm going to measure 0.5 downward. .5, and I will connect this line. Now, having connected the line, I'm going to measure my shoulder, the shoulder for this particular shirt, and the shoulder is 13 inches. Now 13 inches divided by 2 gives me 6.5 inches. So I have 6.5 here, and I have my seam allowance to be 0.5. I'm having a total of 7 inches on the shoulder line. So what I'm going to do now, on that particular point, I'm going to measure 1.5 inches from this edge here. I'm measuring 1.5 inch low. Also here, 1.5 inches. So I'm going to connect. Now, what I'm going to do right now, let me first measure the armhole line, and I have here is the shoulder. I have 7 inches, so I draw my 7 inches. For my armhole line. Now for the neckline, I'm going to mark 2.5 inches for the neckline. 2.5 inches. For the neckline, 2.5 inches. Now, from this mark, from this neckline, I'm going to connect with this slope here, this way. Connect to the neckline. Let me use my ruler. Now, for the neck, the depth of the neck is still 1.5, so I will just make a straight line first, then I'm going to curve. Now for my armhole, I'm going to increase this place, this here, by 2 inches. So I have, so I'm going to connect. So for the chest or the bust, I have the bust of this particular shirt is 30 inches. Now 30 inches divided by 4 gives me 7.5. So 7.5 plus 1.5 gives me the total of 9 inches. So that is why I'm having 9 inches here on the chest line. So this particular shirt is going to be a bit fitted. So here at the mid, I'm looking for the midpoint from this place to the base here. This is 13.5 inches. I will look for the midpoint. So I have 13.5 inches. I have it somewhere here. So like I have the from here, from the chest line, the length of the chest line, this is 9. Now on the waist side, I'm going to reduce it by 1 inch. So I will be having 8 inches. So the base will still maintain 9 inches as I have on the chest or the bust line. So I'm going to connect this line. Remember I told you that the chest measurement is 30 inches and I have here 9 inches here. It means I've added extra 1.5 inch as my seam allowance. So I'm going to reduce that 1.5 inch. So that will serve as my what? Seam allowance. So I'm going to connect. One and a half. So this will now serve as my seam allowance. So I'm going to make a curve here. Now here, I'm going to reduce this one by 0.7 inch inward here. So I connect up. So I have my curve. So what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to give it a curve shape at the base. So I'm going to reduce this one by 2 inches. I will now curve. So I'm going to cut it up now. But before this, let me quickly trim off this rough edge. So this is the front. Now I'm going to cut the back right now. Sorry, I forgot to tell you that this is the right side of this fabric, while here is the wrong side. It is usually advisable that you use the wrong side because of the marking and some other factor. So that is why it is always advisable you use the wrong side. When cutting out your fabric. Now I'm going to place this way. But what I'm going to do now, I'm going to measure. This is the tip, the edge, the right edge that is not subtracted. So I'm going to measure 3.5 inches, or 3 inches is okay. I'm going to measure 3 inches because the back is always longer than the front. So I will be adding extra 3 inches for the back side. So this is how it's going to be. So so 3 inches, but before then, the back side is always smaller than the front side. So this back side, or this front fabric, this front side of this shirt is going to be bigger, wider by 1 inch of the back. So I will measure 1 inch. I have 1 inch. Have 1 inch. Let me be very sure, or let me make it 0.8 inches. So it's okay. So I'm going to measure 3 inches to be very sure that it's not more than 3 inches. As regarding the length, like I told us, I said the back side is always longer than the front panel. So I'm increasing the back side by 3 inches. This is what I have. We are going to place it right here at this tip, because this is where it gives us the original measurement. So this is 3 inches, like you can see. So then the back side, I told you, is always shorter by, I'm using 0.8 shorter than the front, or wider than the front. So let's start our measurement. So for the neckline, I have 7 inches. I'm going to measure 7 inches. You can see it, plus the allowance I did on the first panel, the front panel. So I have my 7 inches here, and I will measure a straight line. Now, having measured a straight line, I'm going to measure from this tip 1.5 inches downward. 1.5 inches downward. Remember, we must make sure that this one does not shake. That's 3 inches longer than the front. Now 1.5, also here I'll be measuring 1.5 downward. Then I connect these lines together. Now, having connected this line, I'm going to measure my neckline. I have 2.5 inches, exactly what I did here. It was also 2.5 inches. So I'm going to measure a straight line connecting to this. 2.5 inches. So I connect. Now for the slope on the shoulder, it's still 1.5 inches depth. So all I need to do is to just connect to this point here, where my neckline ends. Okay. So I'm going to make a curve here. Now for the chest, on the front panel, I have for the width of the chest, the round chest measurement, I have 9 inches. Now that 9 inches is what I'm going to measure here on the back panel. So my 9 inches is found here. Sorry, I'm going to reduce it. It must lie on this front panel. Sorry. So I'm going to make a curve. So what I'm going to do is to cut. Now, tracing everything is to cut it out. Just watch me as I do the cutting. So let me quickly curve the neckline. Then for the slope, so I will cut it, tracing the line. So the next thing for me is to cut the interface of the back side. I'm going to measure here from this slope. I'm going to measure 4 inches. Now from here, I will be measuring 5.5 inches. So I will be cutting out the shape using the back panel. Shall be measuring from this tip 5.5 inches. So I'll be connecting the lines. Then I cut it off. So this will serve as my interface for this back panel. So after this, the next thing is for me to cut the arm. The length of the arm for this particular shirt is 6.5 inches now, plus 1.5 inches. That gives me the total of 8.5 inches, or 9 inches. Let me make it 2. So I'll be having the total of 9 inches for the length of this sleeve. Okay. So I have the width here to be 7, while the mouth sleeve is 11 inches. That's divided by 2 gives me 5.5 inches. Then plus 1 inch for seam allowance. Now, to make a curve, I reduce this by 3.5. I'm going to connect then I connect this to this point. Let me use my ruler. Then I make a curve here. So by the time I measure, I should be able to have like 7.5 inches or 8 inches. I have my 8 inches, then plus the seam allowance of 1 inch here. So I will be cutting. This is my hand. Let me trim this off. I'm going to open it up right to right. right to right. This is my midpoint. I'm going to notch. I'm going to cut this out. So this is the sleeve. Okay. This is the sleeve. This is the interface. And this is the back panel. While this is the front panel. Thanks for watching this video. I really appreciate your love for my channel. If you have not subscribed, like I said earlier on, please do subscribe to my channel, like my video, and share my video. Bye bye.